From a foreigner you may not exact it. You may exact it. So from a Gentile there is no such a thing. But your hand shall release whatever of yours is with your brother, the Jewish people. However, there will be no poor among you. That's verse 2-6. It's the ideal. Total lack of poverty if they obey the verse 5. There would be no poverty basically in the land if they obey. There will be poverty because they did not obey. 7 and 8, it's lending to the poor. Negative in verse 7 and positive in verse 8. Verse 7, if there is a poor man with you, one of your brothers, in any of your towns in your land, which Jehovah your God has given you, you shall not harden your heart, nor close your hand from your poor brother, but you will freely open your hand to him, and shall generously lend him sufficient for his need in whatever he lacks. Okay? Negative verse 7, positively verse 8. And verse 9, beware that there is no base thought in your hearts, saying the seventh year, the year of remission is near, and your eyes is hostile toward your poor brother, and you give him nothing. Then he may cry to Jehovah against you, and it will be a sin in you. And it's a warning not to be afraid to lose money in verse 9. It's a warning not to be afraid to lose money in verse 9, and that's an indication that's it, a total cancellation of the debt, not only for the seventh year. Basically, simply put on this passage, it's a test of generosity. I'm going to test your generosity, and if they would have been generous as they should have been, apart from the remnant were, the tap of heaven would have been wide open, and God would have basically compensated for the loss.
And women couldn't borrow back then, right?
Eh?
Women, they couldn't borrow.
No, it counts. So you sell your family actually into slavery and so on. I'll come to that in a moment. Not tonight though. Verse 10 and 11, let me finish. We finished there, 7:30. You shall generously give to him, your heart shall not be grieved when you give him. You see, your heart shall not be grieved when you give him, because for this thing Jehovah your God will bless you in all your work and in all your undertaking, meaning, let me the one in debt be in front of you. I saw what you did. You lost $10,000 with this guy. Don't sweat it. You will recuperate. But all of us were afraid to lack, and so on, and all of them as well. Same thing. Verse 11, I just read it. No, for the poor you will never cease to be in the land. You see, it was an ideal. For the poor you will never cease. The poor will never cease to be in the land. As a result, I command you, saying, you shall freely open your hand to your brother, your needy, and your poor in the land. But they have not. Kind of a warning of Moses here. It was an ideal which would be true only with perfect obedience, but perfect obedience of the law was not anticipated by Moses. He told them way earlier in the Exodus, I'm giving you the law and you will not obey it. And they say, no, we will obey. They did not. The morning after they dropped it. I'm done for tonight. It's going to get only better. Section by section here, we will see next year the law of bond slave, because we're going to talk about these things: slavery, law of release, law of retention, the attitude of release, firstborn, Passover feast, page 10, civil laws. You will like this: love the king, love the priest, city of refuge, law of landmark, the witnesses. You will like that. Lots of information to give. Those who are watching on YouTube, I want to thank you. The Wednesday night, I stumbled over my words a little bit. It's kind of my Friday today. I'm off Thursday and Friday, so there is a little bit of fatigue attached to it. That's why I stumble sometimes. Jeanette, Vicky, thank you so much for joining. Andrew, get better. Graham, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. God bless you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your Levitical support. And any one of you. I don't pray. You guys do. One of you.
Heavenly Father, just thank you for tonight. We just thank you that we have a place to learn about your word. We thank you for Francois and just his wisdom and his knowledge of which he